Those who know me well have had at least one time in their lives where I go on a completely unhinged rant about the 40K lore. And it always becomes me trying to tell them about all of the Space Marine legions and the Primarchs, because obviously they have to pick a favorite. Mine is the Salamanders, by the way, the nicest pyromaniacs this side of the Great Rift. I love Space Marines, and I think anyone who says they don't either doesn't know what a Space Marine is, or they're lying. Like, imagine someone saying they don't like Captain America souped up even further with extra organs, more muscles, and an armor suit that could stop a rocket. It doesn't make sense. Anyways, there's a 40K boomer shooter out now, and it's absolutely killer, because you get to wreak havoc on the forces of chaos as a Space Marine. Naturally, it's an Ultramarine, aka GW's favorite boys, but it's still just awesome. Great art style, fun gameplay, and most importantly, a chainsword. It's taken me quite a long time to get all the way through the levels just because whenever I finish one I need to go lie down. I genuinely do not have the ability to blink when I play this game. Each level has me looking like this by the end. My eyes hurt, my throat is dry, I have a cramp in my foot from flexing and curling my toes over and over, and in some fights I straight up forget to breathe. It's so intense and there's no good way to describe it, so here's just a good way of showing it. The art style is one of Boltgun's greatest strengths, perfectly capturing the aesthetic of Warhammer 40K with the gothic architecture, brutal weaponry, and religious theming, all rendered into gorgeous pixel graphics. The developers have shown legitimate care and skill just from an artistic standpoint. When you pay attention, even the Nurglings are well realized down to the folds in their nasty little bodies. The architecture is gothic in most places like you'd expect, but they don't forget that Graia is a forge world, and those details are shown in the environment. There's brutalistic factory levels, and even on normal streets you rarely see the sun. When you kill an enemy, they don't just die, they fall apart into all their various guts and viscera, some lower strength enemies just popping out of existence in a spray of red. The fact that they stuck to these pixel graphics and were able to still show off that much detail in the environments and enemies is really impressive to me, and it shows a very deep understanding and appreciation of what 40K really is. The weapon sandbox is really just stellar for a game like this. The strength values of each gun make them individually useful for certain enemies, but this is accomplished without making lower strength guns completely useless. And it's not like you have to conserve ammo on the higher strength guns for big enemies. Ammo drops are plentiful, and the whole arsenal is just a joy to use, especially the heavy bolter, which awakens a deep desire in me. It makes you feel powerful, but not completely ridiculous so as to ruin the difficulty. Most normal human cultists go down to 1, maybe 2 bolter shots, and when I say go down, they really just dissolve into that pink and red mist. I appreciate how the human enemies don't scale as the game goes on. It just makes more sense that regardless of your place in the story, most humans will die to a 75 caliber rocket-propelled bullet. It's not like they're completely non-threatening though. The first time I ran into a human wielding a plasma rifle, I was shocked at how much he did. But overall, when the game wants things to get hard, it can get pretty difficult. It's chaotic, and it's challenging in a way that I never feel on the back foot, like it still rewards my aggression. The best part of the sandbox is that it just lets you do cool shit like this. The story is exactly what it needs to be in a game like this. Background set dressing. An Inquisitor tells us that there is chaos corruption on Forge World Graia. We have to fix this. We are Malum Cato, an Ultramarine. That's it. I have a lot of respect for games that don't try and force a plot where none would really be appropriate, and Boltgun does just that. In a very self-aware way, it's just telling you, you don't need to care about the details, you just need to grab your gun and get to cleansing. And if we want to actually think about this deeply, It's pretty on brand for an Inquisitor to give out absolutely no details to their agents and just send them on their merry way to succeed or die. But Malum Cato is an absolute animal, and the game really makes you feel that, down to the footstep sound effect from just walking around. Space Marines are basically walking tanks, and this was a nice touch to drive that home. A lot of the small environmental details just show the level of care the developers put into this game. They didn't have to include a heavy footstep to the Space Marine character, but it makes sense why they did, and I don't think the game would really feel the same without it. Same thing with the dedicated taunt hotkey, which makes Cato talk some serious shit to the heretics and demons around him. And the last that I would mention is whenever you let him go idle for a period of time, Cato pulls out the Codex Astartes like a good little blueberry boy. These features hardly make the game more or less playable moment to moment, but they're nice little touches that tell me the developers really loved working on this and they really love 40K. The long and short of Boltgun is that it just feels fantastic. From the weapons having tons of mental impact whenever you use them, to the lightning quick movement, the enemy design, the art design, and of course the chainsword. I felt like I was a Space Marine. Obviously one of the best, since a normal Ultramarine wouldn't be taking down Chaos Sorcerers, but I get completely sucked in whenever I play a level. It rides the line of hyper-stimulating, and not in a way that very few games are able to do successfully. And making 40K into a boomer shooter was a choice so genius that I'm surprised it wasn't done before Boltgun. If you like 40K, play it. If you like Doom, play it. If you like Power Fantasy, play it. For what it's trying to be, I think Boltgun is close to perfect. If you made it to the end, thanks for watching all the way through. And if you enjoyed the video, please consider dropping a like and subscribing to the channel. At this point I've covered quite a few games and I don't plan on stopping. It helps me to have a wide variety of games that I get to play, and I hope I continue to turn you guys on to some that you might have missed. I'll see you all in the next one.